everyone, I am Igor Alcantara, and I am here to show you a few tips and tricks about Qlik certifications, Qlik and Talent certifications, but also to go over the process of taking a Qlik certification. The process changed the last year or so, the last couple of years, and so I'm basically here to guide you through. Before I begin, make sure you subscribe to the Data Voyagers YouTube channel. And if you use LinkedIn, go to Data Voyagers LinkedIn page and make sure you follow our page. And as always, follow our website, datavoyagers.net, where you have our blog posts, the videos, the podcasts, the store. Everything we do is in datavoyagers.net. So before we begin, let me just explain what is the purpose of these videos. First of all, this video is not about specific exams, tips, and tricks. I am planning to do more videos about specific exams. So let's say you're planning to take the Qlik Data Architect or the Qlik Business Analyst or the Talent Core Developer, some of these the certifications. So I want to do a video for each one of those. In what order? I don't know. I need your input, your feedback. So leave in the comments what exams you're planning to study or what exams you want me to do videos about. I was privileged, as of we recording now, to take all of the exams for a Qlik partner. So I passed all the certifications. There are over 10 certifications. And then after I posted on LinkedIn, people came and asking about tips and tricks, and said, okay, you know what? Let's do a series of videos. So this playlist will have more videos add to it. So also make sure you're following this playlist. You can bookmark this playlist, so you can check when we publish new videos. All right, so let's get started. This video, I'll break it down in 3 separate sections. First section is explaining the actual process of finding the exam, paying or purchasing the exam, and then taking the exam. That will be the first part. And the second part will be some tips or tricks on when you actually taking the exam, the day of the exam. And then the third part of the video will be just overall preparation tips that I have. So let's get started. On my screen right here, you can see that's the Qlik Learning. So that will be your starting point. So Qlik Learning will give you all of the resources, not only to register for a certification, but also to prepare for a certification. And you log into Qlik Learning using just your Qlik account. Depending on the kind of account, if you're a Qlik customer or partner, you might or might not have full access to Qlik Learning, but you have some level of access to Qlik Learning, to some resources, some materials. So learning.qlik.com is the first resource you need. Now, if you want to purchase exams or Qlik training directly with Qlik, I mean, we at IPC, we do training, etc., and all the partners do as well. But if you want to go through Qlik, you can go to these buy-learning.qlik.com, where you can find stuff, including exams. So it is where you can buy vouchers. Let's say you're buying for more people in your team, etc. But you know what? If you go into the learning.qlik.com, you can find everything there. So that's the first resource that I want to show you. How do I find exams? Well, it depends of the type of the exam that you're planning to take. If you are a partner, there are a few exams that require mandatory for partners. I mean, with IPC, we're the first one globally to have all of the lead partner requirements filled. And basically, you go to this drop down up here, topics, is where I recommend you find stuff. Go there and go to partner training and certification. And I'll do a series of videos on those. They are a little different than the rest of the other certifications because like the pre-sales, for example, they require you recording a presentation, uploading the video, preparing an environment. So we can go over those in later videos. So that will be one. Another one that I highly recommend, those are certifications that are free to take. You don't pay to take the exam, are the data literacy. So the data literacy, if I come here, there are basically two certifications. If I go to data literacy, you will see that there is a lot of training, which I highly recommend. And basically, we have two certifications. One is the data literacy certification, and the other one is the data analytics certification, which is kind of continuation of the data literacy. And again, we have videos specific about those. So that's the second type. Now, the main type, when we say Qlik certification, that we think of are the actual like the classic Qlik and Talent certification, and they will be here at their certification learning resources. So topics, Qlik certification learning resources. And again, this might change after I publish this video, but that's where we have it right now. Now, the certification are on this topic. There are basically two types. They can be analytics or talent or data integration certifications. So let's say I want to take analytics. You go here and you find the different types of certifications. So what are the Qlik Data Analytics certifications? Well, we have the AI certification. We have the business analyst. We have the data architect. We have the system administrator. Compose, I recommend, don't worry about it. This certification will be discontinued eventually. So, but these are the four like main ones for analytics. So let's say, well, how about the business analyst? You expand it, and there we go. This is one of those certifications you actually have to purchase the exam. Here's the full price that you will pay if you're a Qlik customer. But if you're a Qlik partner, there's a discount. You pay like 85 something. And if you're doing that through Qlik Learning, your partner, the discount will be automatically applied. So you don't need to get like a voucher or anything. So let's say I want to go to the exam. I click this link right here, and then we'll open the exam page. We'll explain me the exam, the passing score. That is important. So I have 2 hours to do the exam, and I can purchase here. So if I click purchase, it will open a new page, which is basically a page on the buylearning.qlik that I mentioned before. So open a new page where you can basically go over the process to purchase. Like you see the discount 87.50 actually. The discounts automatically apply, and it'll inform like your name, your email address. It's very important to make sure you put that information correctly, because that will be that's how the exam will be then enabled and added to your profile, to your learning profile, and then you basically finish the purchase of the exam. And then we'll take a couple of hours, sometimes a little bit more, but take a very short time. You will receive an email, and then you'll see when you come back here, then you will see the link to actually take the exam. Once you completed the exam, and that's the second part, then I'll go over soon the process. So that's basically the registering for the exam. Considering you're ready, etc. You do not need to schedule on a given like date and time. Once you purchase, you have 1 year to take that exam. And so that's one thing that is important to know. What I recommend people is pick a date for yourself. Not that it's mandatory, but pick a date for yourself, put in your calendar. And unless something really critical happens, don't change it. Don't change it. Just pick a date to take the exam. Why is that? Any goal without a date, it's not a goal, it's just a dream. If you don't put a date, it's so easy to postpone and basically never do it, and procrastinate and basically never do it. But if you put a date, there is a time clocking. Like there's a time clocking. There's like, oh, I have 1 month, I have 2, I have 1 week, I have 1 day. So you kind of force yourself into the mindset to get ready to actually do it and take the exam. Of course, don't take it if you're not ready, but get ready. So that's something that can help your discipline. Because I've seen a lot of people, yeah, this year I'm going to take the exam, and they never do it because they never set up to a date, and they never feel ready. Guess what? For a lot of the exams, you never feel ready. For the sys administrator, for example, Qlik Sys administrator, I never thought I was ready, and I got close to 90% score. But I never thought I was ready because there was always something that you can learn. So that is important. Pick a date for yourself, but you have a year since you registered. Now, taking the exam. You don't need to go to a location. You take in the comfort or your home or office. But there, and this is possibly the most important part of this video. The exam is AI proctored, and there are many different scenarios where your exam might be canceled and you might lose the exam. Even getting a good score, you might lose your exam. Let's go over those. So in order to actually take the exam, you need Google Chrome. So you need Google Chrome. Why is that? When you go into the exam, and I don't have any page to show you that in practice because I basically already took all the exams. But once you go to the exam, the first time you're doing this, Qlik Learning will ask you to install a Chrome extension. That's why you need it. You need to use Chrome, and make sure your Chrome is up to date. So you need to use Chrome, and the extension is this Honor Lock extension. So basically, that's an AI proctoring extension, and that extension will basically do two things. It will film you, use your camera. So you need a camera in order to take the exam. It will have a camera and will film you the whole time, and it will also will record your screen the whole time. And if that for some reason fail, you might lose your exam. Not only that, when I say camera, also it will record the audio. So you need the audio to be enabled. So you need to enable or allow the extension to access your camera, your screen, and your audio. All of those three will be recorded. Now, once you started the exam, before actually starting the questions, before the time actually starting counting, the first thing to ask you to do after installing the extension is to basically show a proof of identification. So you have your ID. If you have that scan in your computer, you can just upload the file. Or if not, you just point to the camera your ID. It could be a passport. It could be like a photo ID to prove that you are yourself. So that's the first step. And then we'll ask you to do a 360 recording of your room. So then you take your computer and you basically do a 360 recording, and then we'll show the 360, review the video, make sure it actually recorded every single piece of the room. And then if it is okay, you submit it, and then you'll be ready to start the exam. You click a button, and then the time starts to count. Make sure the extension is always running, because if it closes for some reason, then you lose the exam, you lose the opportunity, and then you have to pay again. And we'll go over in case you fail later in this video. Now, for taking the exams, there are what is allowed, what is not allowed, and let me give you a few tips and considerations. First of all, the room where you take it. This is very important. The room cannot have any communication or seen through to another environment. Meaning, if you have windows, they need to be closed with the curtain. Something that you see, I have a window right there, but it's all covered. So there's no way I can see anything on the outside or anyone on the outside can see me. So I'm completely isolated from the exterior content. The door must be closed at all time. I will recommend people, if you're doing it in a place where more people are there's more people, like say you're in the office or you're at home, print or write a note and place it on the door saying, please do not open the door, don't talk to me, I'm taking an exam. So that's the first thing. No outside word communication is allowed. Also, is an AI proctoring. And AI might make mistakes. So if you have frames or pictures of people or something that might look like there is someone in the room, even if it is not real, just save a peace of mind. So you don't need to send an email complaining that was not a person, was just a photo. make sure those are not in the room, remove them, cover them, so then AI will not think that you're not alone. You have to be alone at all time, of course, which includes sounds. There are people that I know, friends of mine, that they lost an exam. They were actually really, really well prepared. They lost an exam, but because there were people on the outside of the room, they were doing it in the office, and people on the outside of the room were talking too loud, and the microphone captured voices, and then the person received a warning, and then in the second warning, basically the exam stopped, and they lost the exam, so they have to pay again. So make sure there's no outside noise, including TV, including people. So if you're in an office and you have the opportunity to go to some office, someplace more quiet, or in a certain time of the day where there are not people around, or doing your home. So, but this is very, very important. And I agree with, because maybe might have people on the outside just basically telling you stuff, or you might communicating through, like, I don't know, Morse code or whatever. People are really creative in when cheating exams. So this is very, very important. They say you are allowed to use your phone, but honestly, I recommend don't do it. Don't use your phone, because you are not allowed to use AI. Now we go to what you're allowed to use or not allowed. So it is an open book exam. You are not allowed to communicate to anybody else or use AI, which means if using a phone, there's no way we know that you're basically not using like an AI software to basically ask the questions. So don't do it. Secondly, don't do it because cheating is wrong, but also because these AI tools, they hallucinate a lot, especially when it's Qlik. They hallucinate a lot, a lot, a lot. So the likelihood of they giving you the wrong answer, it's more than 50%. So it's more likely that you get the wrong answer than the right answer. So don't do it. Don't do it. Even for preparing for the exam, I don't recommend it. But that also includes, don't use search engines. Don't use Bing, don't use Google, because the way they design right now, the first response that they give you, it's an AI response. Not even they could be wrong, but mainly your screen is being recorded. So it means technically you'll be using AI if you're using Google, and Gemini is the first answer you get. So don't use any search engine at all. So what can I use? I personally, what I like to use are basically, I take like some of the documentation, some of things that I might not memorize a specific location of a log file folder, something very specific, not too much, because you don't have a lot of time to actually look through the material. You kind of have to know, but a little bit references. If you print it, it is okay, and have it printed. And Qlik Learning is okay. A lot of content in Qlik Learning is video, so which in the other exam, we're not going to have time to actually listen to the video. And also not recommended, because then again it will be an audio and something that might be interfere with the AI proctoring. So don't use it. More like text. But Qlik Learning might be a resource. I don't think it is as useful. But Qlik Help, it's a pretty good one. So let me minimize this and let's go back here. So Qlik Help. So if you go to help.qlik.com, before starting the exam, I recommend go to the area of the exam. So let's say you're doing an analytics exam, or you're doing a sysadmin exam, or you're doing a talent exam. Go to that specific area, and then you can search for specific things. Most of the questions, you're not going to have the proper time to do the research. So reserve those for those more tricky questions, or let's say you're between two options, you just want to confirm they like the naming convention or some syntax or something like that, you might use it. Don't use for every single question, you're going to run out of time. Okay, and that leads me to the other things that I want to point out. Time management. That is very important. Not only in football, as we all know if you watch football, but also taking your certification. So let's say you have an exam that is basically a 2 hours exam, and you have, 50, 60 questions. So let's say you calculate how many minutes you have per question. It gives you 2 minutes. Don't use full 2 minutes per per question. You want to leave a little room to review. So let's say then you take 25% of that. So let's say a minute and a half, or maybe a little bit more, maybe like a minute. So there's some questions that are straightforward, smaller text, so you know right away. So you take 30 seconds. Some questions, more text, you need to analyze with more thought, so you need more time. So you control that. But establish milestones during the exam. So if I have 2 hours and 50 questions, so it means that after 1 hour, I have at least to have finished 25 questions. Ideally, more than that. But mostly, but for sure, at least 25 questions. I usually break in quarters. So it means that like by 30 minutes, at least 13 questions and so forth. Because then I know, oh, I'm behind, so you have to catch up. If a question is too complicated, will require more time, do the best with your knowledge. Don't spend too much time. Have a piece of paper, write down the question number. At the end, before submitting, you can go back and see, okay, now I have, I don't know, 20 minutes left. So you can go back and you know, oh, I have 5 minutes to review, 20 minutes. So now I have more time. So you don't go through the problem of running out of time. All right? So that's one thing that I also recommend you to do. Don't take screenshots. This will be captured by the proctoring exam and you lose your exam. Again, don't use AI, no outside communication. In regards to no outside communication, it means Teams, Zoom, Slack, WhatsApp, text messages, emails. Make sure you shut them all off. If you're using Teams, go to no disturb so you don't receive any, you don't see any message notification. Doesn't matter if it's not related to the exam. It constitutes an outside communication. You're going to lose your exam. So make sure you shut down your email, any like messaging application. Put your phone in do not disturb. Remove a watch so you don't get distracted by notification and stuff. Actually, don't have your phone on the room. That's where my recommendation. So go to the exam. You finish the exam. You submit it. Then what happens? Well, two possibilities. If you do not pass because you do not answer enough correct questions, you will know right away. It will tell you, unfortunately, you do not pass, and it will tell you a percentage. Like, oh, you did like, I don't know, 50% of the questions was required at 62%, for example. If you do not pass, you get it right away. If you did get enough points to pass, the message will be your exam is under evaluation. So it means you answer correctly enough questions. So you pass the threshold, for example, 62%. However, it doesn't mean you passed already because the video, the screen recording, everything will be reviewed. And it's usually automatically reviewed by an AI, the AI proctoring, but sometimes it can be human reviewed. If there's something that catch up the attention of the AI, some actual human will gonna review it. And then if you are approved, then you receive an email in the credited page saying, oh, yeah, you passed. And then you can post on LinkedIn, tag me saying, thanks, Igor, for the great help, if you think this was helpful. If something happened and you do not pass, then you receive an email and explain the reason why you do not pass. And that's it. If you do not pass for any reason, you need to pay that fee again. So that fee only gives you the, let's say the $250 or $87.50, depending if you're a partner or not. That fee you pay is only for one attempt. Most of exams you can have 3 attempts. Even if you pay, and if you fail 2 times and take the 3rd time, you need to pay 3 times. But if you fail the 3rd time, then you cannot take the 4th time. You need to, and then you can communicate. You can email Qlik just to make sure how much time you need to wait until trying again. But there will be a few weeks or months until you can try again if you fail 3 times. All right. But if you didn't, then you can take like the next day, no problem. You just have to pay the fee. Okay. Now, that concludes the second part of this video. Now, the last part, and I'm sorry this video is too long, but it is important. Now, the last part is how to prepare for the exam. And I'll give a specific instructions when I post videos about like each one of the exams. But overall, what I recommend is not only study, do whatever training you can do in Qlik Learning based on your access, do it. Don't neglect any of the trainings, because there's some things you think, oh, I already know that. I don't know what is a bar chart. And then there's a question with some detail that we do not know. But have a project, get some simple data and do a project. If it's not something that you're working on a daily basis, do it. But the best way to prepare is actually do the work, like the field experience. A lot of the questions in the exams are not, maybe something that we're not exposed, very specific use cases that never exposed. It's not something your customers or your company do. So it's good to maybe get some simple data sets and try to explore. Let me use those functions that I never used before, and go to Qlik Help and read a few of the topics and etc. But I'll go over and also make sure you cover every single topic in the prerequisites for the exam. But I'll go over those when we go, and with way more detail when we go over in every single exam. All right? I'm not going to give up any questions, because I did them, but I did not memorize the questions, and I can. But I can let you. I will give you tips like what are the main areas to study, to focus, style of the exam, etc. But we'll do that for each exam. All right. And so that's basically it. If you want to review this video, just to make sure you catch everything, great. Now, one last tip. You're doing the exam in a Chrome browser, and you might be using, let's say, Qlik Help, for example, to search for specific content. Do not do them in the same browser, because I've seen people. I talk to a lot of people. I see like at least 2 people who fail exams because of that reason. Why is that? Remember that I said that the exam AI proctoring extension window needs to be always active. That's basically a pop-up window that will be running. You can hide it, but it will be running all the time. So sometimes when you are in Qlik Learning or Qlik Help and you click on a link, that link will open in a new tab. And sometimes the tab that it's activated sometimes it's the last tab activated. So sometimes it will open on the AI proctoring pop-up screen, which means if let's say using Qlik Learning or Qlik Help in Google Chrome, and the same screen where you are using the AI proctoring, the AI proctoring will close, because you click on a link that will open on top of that AI proctoring pop-up. So then it will look like that you closed the AI proctoring, so your exam will be canceled. And you did not do anything wrong. It was a technology issue. So in order to avoid that probability, what I usually do is I have one browser. In my case is Edge. I have Edge with my learning content. I usually have only Qlik Help open. Again, time management is very important, so I don't have to have many different things that will basically waste my time. And I have a Chrome for the exam, so I have 2 separate browsers. So there is 0% probability that this will happen. And can I use an external mouse, external keyboards? Yes. Can you use more than one monitor? In theory, yes, but I do not recommend you to do so. I recommend unplug your external monitors. I have in my home office, I have 2 external monitors. In my office, I have 3 external monitors. So a lot of monitors. Remove them. Just do your computer. I like the external mouse and keyboard. It gives me more comfort, so I keep them, but I remove everything else. So then I'm also focused, and I basically eliminating any chance that the AI proctor will find me that I'm basically cheating or doing anything wrong. All right. So I hope that you appreciate these tips. And again, leave in the comments what you think, what are your thoughts, what exams you're preparing for, and what videos you want me to do next on the Qlik exams preparation series. Goodbye. See you next time.